I got to say, the story that we have for you today is incredible. It's about pirates and delivering food up the Mekong River during the Vietnam War and red-eye shifts at night. It's mostly about the massive ships we see on the St. Lawrence River and a man who fell in love with them. The remarkable life, so far, of Marine pilot Don Metzger on today's Story of the Day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Morja Wealth Management, serving the North Country for 3 generations. MorjaWM.com. Securities offered through Hightower Securities, LLC, member FINRA, SIPC. Hightower is an SEC-registered investment advisor. And Kinney Drugs, now accepting S3 Nations benefits and OTC Network Wellness benefit cards for eligible over-the-counter health items. Details at KinneyDrugs.com.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Tuesday, January 27th. First up, the North Star Health Alliance's president and CEO, Richard Duvall, has resigned. The healthcare group runs Carthage Area Hospital and Claxton Hepburn Medical Center in Ogdensburg and other practices and clinics across St. Lawrence and Jefferson counties. As Amy Feiereisel reports, the healthcare network has been under severe financial stress.
According to a press release this afternoon, Duvall tendered his resignation at a January 22nd board meeting, just days after the North Star Health Alliance announced layoffs of over 100 employees. North Star provided no specific reason for his resignation, calling it voluntary. It comes after months of financial uncertainty for the healthcare group. Officials, including Duvall, have blamed a serious budget shortfall on the state, claiming it failed to deliver promised funds as the Claxton Hepburn Hospital in Ogdensburg transitioned to 2 co-located facilities. The state has disputed that account, saying that North Star hasn't supplied basic information about how taxpayer money was being used. The healthcare group has struggled to make payroll since December. The press release about Duvall's resignation said that the North Star Health Alliance's board of directors has, quote, taken steps to ensure continuity of operations and asserted it remains fully operational. Amy Feiereisel, North Country Public Radio.
Educators say they're pleased to see some new investments in Governor Kathy Hochul's budget proposal. But as Samuel King with the New York Public News Network reports, they're still hoping to see some changes in funding.
Hochul's budget includes an overall 4% increase in funding to schools, and every district will receive at least a 1% increase in foundation aid. That's the formula that determines the distribution of state aid to schools. Education groups say that formula, which was first developed more than 15 years ago, is outdated and doesn't reflect rising costs. Jennifer Pyle is executive director of the Conference of Big Five School Districts, which includes urban districts like New York City, Buffalo, and Rochester. Pyle says those districts have different fiscal constraints than others.
We're thrilled with some of what's been done in the last few years, but we still have, ways to go before we have a comfort level that we have the funding we need, the predictability, and the equity with resources to ensure that we can do everything we need to do.
The governor and legislature agreed last year to update the foundation aid formula, but some advocates say the revision still doesn't account for students who might be homeless or in foster care. Pyle said her districts are reviewing the governor's proposal and its potential impact on their operations. Lawmakers will hear from school districts across the state during budget hearings this week. In Albany, I'm Samuel King for the New York Public News Network.
The life of any sailor is pretty dramatic, unexpected storms and such, but this longtime mariner has really seen it all. For today's North Country at Work story, we talked to a man who piloted freighters on the St. Lawrence Seaway and around the world. Our news intern Richard Haller reports.
When Don Metzger was a kid, his parents spent a lot of time at a tiny cottage on the St. Lawrence River.
With no electricity or running water, and a little wooden rowboat, and I would see ships from all over the world go by.
These ships sparked Metzger's curiosity. He says there was something about the bigger vessels and the water that just pulled him in.
I could view life, marine life and avian life from a different perspective, and I liked being able to move around, go from one place to another.
Metzger says he knew he wanted to pilot one of those big ships. In 1963, his parents and guidance counselor motivated him to go to the New York State Maritime College in the Bronx, where he began his sailing career as a cadet. When Metzger graduated from college in 1967, it was an intense time. with the United States deploying troops to Vietnam.
The Navy had enough people, but the Merchant Marine, they were short. So they said, go and serve in the Merchant Marine. And that's what I did.
This worked out for Metzger, who says he didn't have much interest in the Navy or military ships.
We carried everything from beer and bombs and mosquito repellent and spare tires and jeeps and rockets and bullets and rifles and everything you can think of to fight a war on the other side of the world.
Metzger's career has brought him to many corners of the world, along with some staggering challenges.
I've buried colleagues at sea and avoiding icebergs. One of the scariest times would be like in Vietnam, going up the Saigon River in the Mekong Delta with the Viet Cong, wanting to attack our ships, and our ships are not armed.
Metzger has many stories to tell of his travels. He's been raided by pirates, faced hurricanes and monsoons. He says he's enjoyed being around so many different cultures and people. And there were fun times, like when he and his crew picked up a South Asian bird during a voyage.
We had a wonderful pet on board, a minor bird that we'd picked up in Singapore. It was kind of a rescue job. And the guys were teaching the minor bird how to talk, and sometimes the language was pretty salty. But we lost it over the side in a brief gust of wind in the South China Sea one time, and the mood on the ship was amazing. I mean, we were all depressed. We lost our good buddy, the minor bird,
Metzger's job required him to be away from home for extended periods. He says his longest voyage was when he sailed for 9 months from the Arctic to Antarctica with a crew of scientists to conduct research.
Having that responsibility every single day and night, 24 hours a day, being away from birthdays and Christmas and holidays and so on, that was a stress.
After the war and some time as an officer, Metzger returned home to work as a Marine pilot. He piloted freighters on the St. Lawrence River, from Cape Vincent to Messina to all of the harbors and locks in Lake Ontario. As a pilot, Metzger guided foreign ships safely through the narrow channels of the Thousand Islands, often navigating snowstorms, freezing rain, fog, and complete darkness.
The human body is made to be awake in the day and asleep at night. But ships go 24/7, truly, and half of what my career was over 60 years long, if you include my time as a cadet and all. So 30 years I spent in the dark.
Metzger says that when he would come home, his wife was always understanding of his work.
I don't have to worry about saying, honey, I'm not going to be home tonight. I'm stuck at anchor in fog or something, and she understands exactly.
But he says that sometimes it can be hard to relate to other people.
Neighbors and friends never really quite get it. I find myself telling them sort of the same thing time after time. Hey, come on over and have a hamburger with us tonight. The wife and kids are going to have a cookout tonight. And I can't. I got to work tonight. No. Oh, you got to work tonight? Yeah, the ships go 24/7.
Today, Metzger is 80 years old. He retired 3 years ago and is living in Watertown. He says that he loved his career. Despite its challenges, it's work that he says he's proud of and that he couldn't imagine doing anything else.
And I felt very, very fortunate to be in a job like that, because I know a lot of people who are, they're in work that they can't wait to get home and they can't wait till they retire and that kind of thing. And I have been blessed to have always been in a profession that I really liked. And it's an old profession, and it's a proud profession.
Metzger says that the foundation of our society is built on the shipping industry, and that all of the things we use every day, from gasoline to computers to our clothes, are all possible due to ships moving stuff from one point to another. Metzger says that if ships suddenly stopped today, life as we know it would also come to a halt. For North Country Public Radio's North Country at Work project, I'm Richard Haller in Watertown.
The story was recorded at a public collection event in Watertown. It's part of North Country at Work, a long-running project of NCPR that collects photos and stories about working life in our region. If you have a work story you'd like to share, we want to hear it. Email us work@ncpr.org. Music today by Dan Duggan of Lake Clear and Muskox of Ottawa. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.